Okay, Dean, some exciting news that you've been embroiled in this past week. You have been asked to be a juror at the, that's such an awkward word, juror.
Well, it's better to say jury president because that's what I was, actually.
Oh, well, that's better. What was that thing? I think it was on 30 Rock. It was the Barbara Walters impression, the rural juror was the name of her. Anyway, so you were the jury president of the Massachusetts Independent Film Festival, correct?
Correct. And it's been a really wonderful thing. I should say right now I'm reporting live right here in Brookline, Massachusetts. It's a little suburb of Boston. The festival has gone really, really well, and it last night was the closing night party. It's run by a fan of the show, Jason Miller, and he's got two fellow programmers named Chris D'Annunzio and Nolan Lee. And they've put together a beautiful festival at it's basically taking place at two different theaters here in one in Somerville, which is also another part of Boston really, but it's its own city, but it's still right next to Boston. At the Somerville Theater, and then 2 days at the Brattle Theater. Now the Brattle Theater is really interesting because it's like a full-on repertory theater. I mean, it's been there for a really long time, and but they actually show 35 millimeter prints as well as video too. I took a look at their projection room, and what's interesting about their projection room is it's actually behind the screen. So they project from behind the screen. You don't get and that's really a fascinating aspect of it. But again, beautiful place, and the hosts have been very, very kind. They're big fans of the show, and I mean, Jason can actually quote things, episodes of the show to me and stuff. So that's kind of surreal. Yeah. So I was the jury president, and that meant that I had to sit and watch all the movies. I guess it was about 40 titles or so, including mostly shorts, but about 7 features maybe. This is one of those festivals that's since it's only going on one screen at a time. It's easy, if you want to buy a 3-day pass, you can see everything that it has to offer. So, and that's not the same with other festivals where there's multiple screens going on at the same time, obviously. The quality of the films has been very high, and also, even though they're all independent films, it's been a wide range of independent films. My favorite documentary is actually won Best Documentary and Best Editing. It's a 45-minute documentary. It's considered a feature here, but I would kind of consider it a short because I think anything under 50 minutes is a short. But at any rate, they considered it a feature, so it won feature documentary. It's called The Comic Book Palace. It's a great movie by Felipe George. That's the filmmaker's name, and it basically just is a snapshot of life at this comic book store called the Comic Book Palace in Haverhill, Massachusetts, which is about 30 minutes outside of Boston, and it's run by this guy named Glenn O'Leary, who owns the business. And of course, he has his favorite customers coming in, and it's also kind of like that Kevin Smith show, which I haven't seen, where they're sitting around in a comic book shop. This particular film, it knows to be exactly how long it should be, and in this length, it not only tells the story of the running of this business and the challenges and the benefits of running your own business, especially a business that caters to deals with things that you love, like this guy does with comic books. Also, his relations with the customers, his relationships with the regulars, which is a wide variety of types. You know, there's one president that believes in traditional comics, you know, and doesn't like Superman he likes the old Superman, not the new Superman, and then they in the film, you know, the film's good because it makes no allowance. It says whether you're a comic book fan or not, we're going to show you what the life is like here, and we're also going to talk about comics, and we're not going to dumb it down for you. So, and we're not going to spend a lot of time explaining things for you. So, when they get into talking about the merits of certain writers and certain artists and so forth, it gets very geeky, like we do on the show we get on the show about movies. But it's wonderful, you know. Even though I don't know much about comics, I thought, wow, this is kind of an education, and it's just very, very affectionate movie. And they do get into talking about comic book movies and so forth, but the film never gets boring. The guy did it. Felipe George did it over the space of 7 months, and got 1 terabyte of material out of it, you know, and then cut it all down to very manageable and just very entertaining length. Last night, the closing night feature was a feature that is going to hit wide. It's called COG, and it's directed by Kyle Patrick Alvarez. It's based on a story by David Sedaris, and it stars Jonathan Groff, who's very good in the film.
What story by David Sedaris?
I don't know exactly. I just know that it was based on it just said based on a story by David Sedaris, but I didn't make that note. But it's basically what it's about is Jonathan Groff plays a guy. You know, at the beginning of the movie, he's kind of running away from something, and he's out into rural rural California. I can't even remember where it's set, but it looks like New England to me. But anyway, he goes to work in an apple orchard that's run by Dean Stockwell, who's got a nice supporting performance in it. And then he goes. You can see he's kind of running away from his past. He's running away from his family and so forth. He's just broken up with a girlfriend, or the girlfriend's actually broken up with him. And but he also sort of has like an eye for guys too. It's about Jonathan Groff's character's search for identity in the midst of not only working in this apple orchard. It's kind of set into 3 acts, basically. He's working in the apple orchard. Then he goes to work in an apple factory where they box and crate apples and pick the best ones and so forth to put into crates. Right. And that's where he meets a guy played by Corey Wilson who definitely has the hots for him. So. And then the third act of it comes with Jonathan Groff kind of running away from the threat of that relationship, and actually taking up with a Christian man played in an incredible supporting performance by Dennis O'Hare. And it's a Christian artisan who works in stone and makes clocks out of jade stone, and that's where the movie to me gets really, 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 really good. My fellow jurors didn't feel like it had. I thought it was beautifully shot, and they just released the trailer for it on IMDb, so you can go check it out for yourself. But I thought it was really, really well done. It was my choice for out of the nominees for Best Feature. It was my choice. But my fellow jurors, Skip Shea, and who's an actor who's been in Shutter Island and a few other. He's been Taking Woodstock, I know, and he's got a kind of a rich career as an actor and filmmaker. And also the other juror on the jury was Peter Keogh, who is the former critic for the now gone Boston Phoenix, and is now freelancing for the Boston Globe. But they didn't think too much of COG, but I really dug it. I thought it was good. We also showed musical chairs, which, we don't really have to talk about Susan Feinman's musical chairs because she's been a guest on the show, and I've already reviewed it on the show. And if you want to know, I really liked the movie and everything, and it actually did very well in our awards. I saw one feature that we all know about, and I'm not sure if either one of you guys have seen this movie. It came out in April, and the programmers here asked the filmmaker, who's from Boston, if they could show it at their film festival, and they said yes. After a lot of negotiation, they finally relented and said yes. And I went into this movie thinking, I'm not a fan of this guy's movies, but I came out and I think it's one of my 10 favorite movies so far this year, and it's Rob Zombie's The Lords of Salem. Have you guys seen this movie yet?
No, I was actually thinking of taking it off my Netflix queue, but now I won't.
This movie is absolutely jaw-dropping for me. Maybe it's because I went in with absolutely no expectations, and I really haven't been able to make it through any of Rob Zombie's movies because they're just not my type of thing. Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, it's just not my deal. But this movie was completely different, and I think what really got me in there, first of all, was just the look of the film was just absolutely stunning. Every set decoration was just mind-blowing. Makeup, photography, costuming, sound, music. Even just music choices, his sort of source music score, and I really loved. It's got it doesn't have as deep of a cast as Devil's Rejects does, with all those tons of people in that, but it does have. Of course, it features his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, who's really great in the lead. I mean, I know he uses her in every one of his movies and so forth, but I just thought she was superb in this movie. It's got an interesting supporting cast. Bruce Davison is a witch expert, Judy Geeson, the British actress, and Dee Wallace as two of three, crazy old ladies that live in Sherry Moon's Zombie's apartment building. And
Dee Wallace has already graduated to the crazy old lady stage of her career.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
She has. There's Michael Berryman is in it, and Sid Haig, and there's a few other interesting cast members in it. But I'll tell you, if I may use the F word right now, I was fucking riveted by this movie. I mean, I did not expect this. It really, it has touches of Rosemary's Baby, touches of The Shining. It's obviously influenced by both of those movies in a heavy way. A little bit of The Exorcist as well, but used very, very well. Like these are real homages, not just straight steals. They're real homages and just beautifully done. I was stunned by it. Another horror movie is. This is, and it's really easy to talk about. It's called Hazmat, and it takes place in an abandoned chemical factory where a reality show crew has gained access to, and they're doing sort of a scare tactics type show. It's called Scary Antics, and they go in there to play a prank on two unsuspecting, victims who are really actresses, and basically one of the people that goes in there gets possessed by an evil hazmat suit that they put on, and they become a killer, and so it's basically like a killer in this maze-like kind of abandoned factory, and it's really funny. I don't want to oversell it. But it's really funny. It's extra fun. It's sort of like the director. It's a female director named Lou Simon, and She's a huge horror fan, and she said she had been injured in an accident, and she was taking pain pills, and she just happened to write this. Before she knew it, she started writing, and she wrote this movie, and it's filmed down in Miami, actually, in your state, Jamie, and it's just it's just really good, and it actually has some really, really sharp performances in it, and some big laughs, like laughs that she actually meant to be in there, because she says horror, cheesy horror is not fun without a lot of comedy in there. So, and it wasn't too gory or anything like that, just enough gore. And I could easily see that movie. It was definitely better than anything on Sci-Fi Channel or anything, So it definitely.
Well, that's Sci-Fi Channel. That's not setting the bar very high.
No, it's not. But it's definitely better than that, and those do get some viewership. So anyway, she deserves to get the movie seen in whatever way she can. Maybe she could be a guest on the show, when she gets released for it, because it's really fun. Shorts wise, lots of good shorts. Some of them not so good, but a few really good ones. I want to mention Pega Arsi's film from Iran, which actually kind of swept the awards, and it's called Silence, and it's a 15-minute story about a little kid delivering DVDs to various people around in Tehran, but also really what it's about is in all the places he delivers things to, there's sort of clashes between men and women. So it's really about the sort of the desperation that men feel financially there, but mostly it's about the women and how women are treated in Iran. And Pega is a fan of the show, by the way. She knew who I was when she heard. She was excited when she heard that I was on the jury, and she went through hell to get this movie made, as she does through all of her movies being made in Iran. She has to go through a major to get the movie made. She has to go through a major set of hurdles, and then to get the movie seen, she has to go through a major set of hurdles. And she says in Iran, they don't want anybody making movies about how they live their life, because they want to keep it all secret, and they don't. They said, don't tell the world about our problems or anything is their motto. But anyway, Silence is one of was the most brilliant short that I saw, and such a big subject in 15 minutes. She really did an amazing job, and she's actually in the film too. The film actually won an award for her for best short, best director, best writer, and supporting actor. Another short that I really, really loved was a film from this area called Winter Hill. It was directed by Melissa Bruno, and it's also 15 minutes long. It's basically the story of the dissolution of a female friendship. Also starring non-actors, both of which won acting awards, Nicole Buchel and Brianna Buckley. And it's 90s period piece, autobiographical. Bruno did a tremendous job of directing these actresses into very believable climbs, and just a little story, but that kind of thing that we never see in movies. There were a lot of female film directors that came out with great stuff. I don't know what was going on at this festival, but I think almost everybody that won an award as a director was female, with the exception of Felipe George for the comic book movie. We had Susan Seidelman won for musical chairs, Pega Arsi for Silence, and Melissa Bruno for Winter Hill, and also Lou Simon for Hazmat. So, I saw a lot of other great stuff. Films like Laps. I got to meet the director. This was very interesting, by the way. This will be the last one that I talk about, and then I'll tell you, where you can go and take a look at some of the stuff online. But I saw there was a film from New York called Laps, and it's by Anthony Salerno, and it's produced by a guy named Bill Timoney. These guys, a very good movie. I told them this too. If I was going to be perfectly honest, it's maybe about 8 minutes too long, but it's about a guy kind of spiraling down into like rock bottom in a substance abuse problem, and the things that led to this substance abuse problem, and the things that lead him out of it. But it's very well edited and well shot. It's got a nice lead performance in it too. What's interesting about the two guys who made this movie is that they actually met as producers and as voice talent doing anime work. And the director is actually one of the leading producers of anime. And what I mean by that is anime dubbing. So the producer was telling me stories about working on some really big anime titles, like the dubbing of Legend of the Overfiend and Akira and stuff like that. So he has major. And here's another thing that's interesting about Bill Timoney too. He's currently working. He's old friends with Bryan Cranston, and he's in town in Boston working on he's the producer of a new play with Bryan Cranston as Lyndon Baines Johnson, and Michael McKean is also in it as J. Edgar Hoover. Anybody who's interested in this, any filmmaker out there who's interested in submitting to this film festival, which you should, they're very fair. It's their website is massiff.org.